and Zachary King, whom I've had the privilege of knowing for quite a few years, and we've been together on different occasions. And now we are privileged to talk with him once again. Zachary, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Father Frank. Thank you for having me.
Well, we are certainly always praying for you. We are certainly very grateful for your powerful testimony. I was very happy to endorse your book many years ago. And, as a result of our conversation today, I hope all of our listeners and viewers will take an extra step and get a copy of that book, which I know is available on Amazon, and you are going to be, you and we together, of course, can make it available even more as time goes on. But for those who are not familiar with your story, before we get into the topic of this upcoming conference, give us in a nutshell your testimony.
I guess the Reader's Digest condensed version of my story is that at 10 years old, I was wondering if magic was real. So I set about to do a magic spell, found out it was real. At 12 years old, stumbled upon a Satanic Coven. At 13, joined it. At 14, did my first assisted abortion. By 18, I graduated high school, went off to college, found another Satanic Coven, joined that, and by 21 made the position of High Wizard. Was in that for 12 years. By the time I came out, I had committed 146 assisted abortions. Did pretty much every sin under the sun. Had a horrible childhood and a horrible adulthood. And escaped out of Satanism in 1999, out of organized Satanism. I was still addicted to magic, and was working as a jewelry store manager in 2007, 2008. A woman came in to make a purchase, made the purchase, and gave me a blessed miraculous medal. And I saw Mary and I saw Divine Mercy Jesus, and felt that I was Catholic that day. Started going to daily mass the next day.
Wow.
I was in January of 2008 and officially came into the church in May of 2008.
That is something, that's a great testimony, for many of us who have these sacramentals, as we call them, these medals and crosses or whatever it might be, and people should never underestimate the power of those, right? To be little vessels of God's grace, God kind of nudging us to go the right way.
Yeah, it's, at the time when she gave me the medal and she said it was very powerful, I thought, Protestants don't bless anything. The woman's got to represent some female deity cult. And, I'm going to take this in my hand and either toss it on the floor or slam it on my counter and tell her it's worthless. At that time I could feel the power and stuff and tell you, hey, this was used in a death spell, or this was used in a protection spell, or your friend found this and bought it at Goodwill and there's nothing attached to it. And I just figured there was she was lying to me about what it had, or she was misrepresenting it in some way.
Yes.
So I didn't think there was any power to it, no mystique, nothing to it, but I was way wrong.
You used a number of words that I want to delve into a little bit because words are important. Of course, first of all, the word magic. Now, you point out in your book that there are two spellings of this word, one with just a C and the other one C-K. Tell us the difference.
MAGIC is Doug Henning or David Copperfield. It's sleight of hand, card tricks, illusion, but, it's just trickery. It's not real magic. Then there's MAGICK, and Aleister Crowley came up with that spelling in 1904 so that we could tell the difference in sleight of hand and satanic magic. Satanic magic is the magic that's mentioned in the Bible in 33 different verses where God tells you not to do it. If it was impossible to do magic, God wouldn't tell you not to do it.
Not to do it, right.
In the Old Testament, you're stoned to death. In the New Testament, you don't inherit the kingdom of God. That proves magic is real,
Yes.
because God wouldn't tell you not to do something if it was impossible to do it.
You know, the other term you used, of course, Satanic Coven. Could you explain to us what that is?
A Satanic Coven is a group of people that have gathered together to worship Satan in whatever form they see fit. There's different types of covens. There's sex covens. There's kidnapping covens. There's human trafficking covens. Those are usually called Diablo sex. But there's also politicized covens. There's magic covens. There's covens that meet for different things. It's sort of like the realm of Protestantism, where every Protestant church believes a little differently, and so they name their coven something else.
I see.
In the Protestants, they have, you can be Baptist, but if you don't believe in some of the stuff they believe in, you can be Presbyterian. If you don't believe in that, you can be, whatever your flavor is, you can be that. And all of them believe something different. Now, just like in Protestantism, let's say you join 10 different Protestant churches and none of them have what you want. Well, in the Protestant church, you're allowed to step out and start your own church.
Hmm.
In the world of Satanism, if you joined 10 different covens and none of them offer what you want, you can start your own coven, and then that makes you the high priest or priestess, and now you're the leader of your own coven. Even if your coven gets no followers ever, you are still the high priest.
I see. Now, you also used the term high wizard. That's the position that you had attained. Talk to us a little bit how that hierarchy works and what that means and how many people like this there might be in the world.
In most covens, most of the positions that they have are just the regular Satanic Coven members. You're just a Satanist. In my second Satanic Coven, World Church of Satan, not connected to any, they're connected to probably dozens of covens, but they're not connected to the Satanic Temple or the Church of Satan by Anton LaVey. At the time, they used to be the biggest coven in the world. So World Church of Satan was number one. The OTO, Ordi Templi Orientis, was the second largest coven in the world, followed by the Satanic Temple, the Church of Satan, which was Anton LaVey's church, and the Joy of Satan being number 5. But currently, Satanic Temple, as of last year, had 300,000 members worldwide, and this year they announced they have 700,000 members worldwide. So they more than doubled in 1 year. And I would think that the way they're trending, they'll have over 1 million members next year. In World Church of Satan, the hierarchy meant that everybody is basically a Satanist. Satan handpicks the high wizard. So the high wizard does the magic, the official magic of the coven. There's between 1 and 10 in the coven. But that coven also is ran by a CEO and a board of directors.
Now, you mentioned a number of these groups and the Satanic Temple. They're the ones now that are having this conference this coming weekend, right? April 28th to 30th, 2023. Now, they announced this. They said they were going to. They said it's sold out. They said I think they're going to have some 800 participants. Is it true that as far as you know, what they say that this is the largest gathering of Satanists that has ever taken place?
Well, it's the largest public satanic gathering, satanic convention.
Okay.
We've had these satanic conventions have been going around for probably at least 100 years. And they've been going around every year in the United States. They've been going for at least 50 years. And the funny thing about that is I said that at a conference about 10 years ago. And this guy called me up and he said, "Why did you say that?" And I said, "Well, because it was honest. I thought everybody should know. Everybody should pray against it." And he says, well, I've never heard of a satanic convention.
Hmm.
And I said, well, they're not made public. You have to be a Satanist to be invited to them.
Right.
And he said that he believed that I was lying about it, that I was just trying to sensationalize what I was saying,
Uh-huh.
and that it was easy for me to make these claims because they're top secret and no one knows about it. And
Mm-hmm.
suddenly I have this hidden knowledge no one else has. And I said, well, what would be the harm in you praying against it? Because if you started praying against it now, I said, eventually Satan's going to be out in the open and out in the public. And so fast forward 10 years ago, that 10 years later, this would have been last year, same guy calls me. And he's like, is this Zachary King? I said, yes, it is. He says, I need your help. I just heard that the Satanic Temple is having a SatanCon in Arizona. And what are we going to do? How do we stop this? How do we prevent it? And I was like, your voice is very familiar. Did you call me 10 years ago to ask me why I said satanic conventions happen in top secret? And he was like, yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
I said, what did we decide 10 years ago? He's like, you said to pray against it and we could prevent it from happening. So had you done that back then, you could have prevented this from happening now.
Yes. Now, Zachary, let's talk about this convention and what happens and what these people want to happen. And I was struck by the claim that they made that, oh, well, we don't really believe in a spiritual being, the devil or Satan. We're just coming together to affirm our values, compassion, intellectualism, personal freedoms. And they're saying we're not coming together to worship a spiritual being named Satan. What do you say in response to that?
Well, if that were true, they wouldn't do a black mass. And the black mass is the worship of devil. During the black mass, they bang a gong or ring a bell every time they say the name of Baphomet, or they say the devil, or they say Satan. Like, why would you do that if you didn't believe he was real? Why you've got tax exempt status because you're a religious entity. What kind of religious group? I mean, is there a Baptist church somewhere that doesn't believe in God?
Right.
They don't worship God? No. Is there any Protestant church that has a religious name that doesn't worship God? No. So why would there be a satanic group that doesn't worship Satan?
Now, would you say, is it them deceiving us, or is it the devil deceiving them?
I would say it probably goes both ways. I mean, on the one hand, there's two different types of Satanists. There's theistic and atheistic. Theistic Satanists, which is what both of my covens were, believed in God and the devil, but they had a different view of it than what the Bible gives you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you look up the Joy of Satan, they have a whole manifesto on their website where they talk about God being the bad guy and Satan being the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's atheistic, and atheists pretty much believe in straight up hedonism. It's like, it's not just do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. It's do whatever feels good. And, if it's illegal, don't tell anyone you're doing it, or find like-minded people that can enjoy this sin with you. And they allege they don't worship the devil, but it's generally the atheistic Satanists that do the black mass. Theistic Satanists don't really do it. And it's also now, again, they're saying they don't believe in God, they don't believe in the devil, they don't worship the devil. And they say all that, and then they steal our host.
Right.
Now, they don't go to the Catholic bookstore and buy a box of unconsecrated hosts.
Right.
Which, it'd be $10 for 100 hosts. They don't do that. They pay between $1,500 and $15,000 for a consecrated host, and they can tell that it's been consecrated.
They can tell.
So I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that there's a disconnect there somewhere, because you're saying you don't believe in God, yet you know that the host has been consecrated.
Right.
saying you don't believe in the devil, but you're holding a black mass. Somebody's lying somewhere.
Now, you mentioned in your book also a very interesting line about, a religion doesn't have to worship Satan in order to be satanic, but all that matters really is that somebody does not worship God the Father. I mean, this is kind of wherever people fall, as you're telling us, there's a whole spectrum of beliefs and alleged beliefs. But ultimately, the goal, as I understand it, is, all right, you're not worshiping God the Father. Maybe you're worshiping the devil as a spiritual being. Maybe you're just worshiping yourself, your own will, your own choice. And of course, we see this in Scripture. It's the original temptation, right? You will be like gods, you yourselves. And is that what they mean when they say, we one of our core values is personal freedoms, because this really ties into the whole pro-choice mentality. It's choice. My choice is more important than the choice of any god or any law or any person. It really is just that self-assertion, isn't it?
Well, it's ultimately, and I say this, I think I might mention this in the book as well, is that the devil, although full of ego as he is, would love it if the whole world worshipped him. He doesn't care if you worship him or not. He's the one, he wants you to not worship God, because he knows if you don't worship God, you're going to hell. And that's where he wants everybody. And it's out of his hatred for us and his anger at God. I don't know why he's mad at God. God's not the one that told him to act like an ass in heaven and get kicked out.
This connection with abortion is something that I know that at the upcoming conference, there is at least one workshop. I saw some of the workshops listed that's going to be talking about reproductive choice. I imagine they're going to be a lot more talk than that. And of course, your personal story, as you were telling us at the very outset, has just very deep and kind of really horrifying personal connection with abortion. Talk to us about this. I mean, obviously, we know, as we serve the moms and dads who are tempted to go to the doors of that abortion clinic, we're not talking about our friends or family members or people we know that go to have abortions. We're talking about the nature of abortion, and we're talking about the evil spirits behind it, and we're talking about the hardcore people that are in the abortion industry. Tell us more about that connection between abortion itself and Satanism.
Well, as I've mentioned in a lot of my talks, the blood of aborted babies is what fuels Satan's machine. And I started saying abortion is a satanic sacrifice in 2008, as soon as I came out, as soon as I became Catholic, pretty much. And I put out my CD set in 2015, and then I put out my book in 2018. And on Amazon, my book has a lot of reviews. It has 5 stars. And there's multiple Satanists have written reviews about it. And they've claimed that, I'm totally wrong. Satanists don't believe in these things. I'm just, they don't know where I get my information, but I'm either lying or I'm wrong, and I don't know what I'm talking about. And then last year, the Satanic Temple came out and said that abortion is a satanic sacrifice. This year, I believe, they decided that if you live in a state that does not allow abortion, you can go on their website and join the Satanic Temple, and then they'll give you prayers to say before and after your abortion, making it a satanic sacrifice, and you can get an abortion as a religious freedom in your state. Like, it's totally legal. Exorcists have said that for every abortion, it releases demons out of hell. And, it being a blood sacrifice, unfortunately, there's a lot of demons that become attached to the people that get these things done. Even the ones that did it, quote unquote, innocently, can end up with demonic attachments.
Yes.
Or even possession.
This Satanic Temple actually went into court, didn't they, to challenge the pro-life laws in certain states. I know there was Indiana, Idaho, and they're making that claim. This is based on religious freedom. Our religious freedom cannot be infringed, in other words, by these laws that are limiting or prohibiting abortion. And I would suspect that we're going to see more of that, and I would suspect that with the abortion battle at fever pitch now, in the aftermath of Roe v. Wade, I would suspect that may be an outcome of this conference, too, that they want to launch more of these religious freedom lawsuits in favor of abortion.
Well, they like to push the envelope. Like they started putting the Baphomet statue in front of courthouses that have a Ten Commandments bench or a Ten Commandments statue. So they said, freedom of religion, that they're allowed to be represented. If God is going to be represented, then Satan gets to be represented. They started putting after-school Satan programs in places that had Protestant after-school programs. And now this is just another step. If you're saying no, that they can't have an abortion, or the abortions are limited, they've claimed that abortion is their religious right. And violation, telling them that they can't have an abortion is a violation of their religious rights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's well, I just have two other questions. By the way, let's tell people again the name of your book so they can go find it on Amazon.
Abortion is a Satanic Sacrifice.
That's the name of the book. Abortion is a Satanic.
We closed our store temporarily because I didn't have anybody to help me run it. And that'll be open in a couple of days. Or you can go to Amazon and they have my book available.
Excellent. Abortion is a Satanic Sacrifice by Zachary King. Friends, check it out. Check out the book. Two other final questions. One, I'd like you to, if you would, just relate the story. It's always the most striking part of your book, that first abortion that you took part in, and how the others that were there in the room behaved during that. It's just eye-opening. And then secondly, let's talk about just, for believers that are listening to us now, what's the best way spiritually to respond as these Satanists hold this conference this coming weekend?
All right. We had about 150 people in the Coven, and almost everybody showed up. We had 13 high priests and priestesses surround the woman on the table. She's on a birthing table, and we have a abortion doctor and nurse there, and we had a Baphomet statue at the head of the woman. There's a group of men and women together praying to the devil and chanting incantations to keep religious people away and to keep police away. And we have about 15 naked women on the floor chanting and swaying our bodies ourselves. All the abortions we did were late term, so the baby is delivered all but the head. They perform the late term abortion, and then after the baby's dead, they actually rip the baby apart and threw it to the women on the floor, who consumed everything but the bones. And my job as a magic practitioner was to get blood on my hands. And that was easily accomplished at this. And then I finished out. I had a magic spell I had to do. So I had a hex that I was doing. So I did my hex, in a nutshell, without getting too graphic, that was, what happened.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And you said about 146 of these in your time in that position.
Yeah, I did 146 total.
Yeah. So this conference is coming up. What do you recommend people do spiritually?
Well, the event coming up is SatanCon. It's in Boston. It'll be at the final weekend in April. The bishop is asking that people go to all the adoration. Apparently, there's a lot of adoration chapels in his diocese.
Yes.
So he's asking for people to go to the adoration chapels and do their prayers, and pray for the people that are in there. Pray for their conversion.
Yes.
We were trying to encourage bishops or priests to walk around the places with exercised salt, because we thought if you're surrounding the building with exercised salt, the demons can't get in there.
Mm.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
Having a satanic convention with no demons.
No demons.
That'd be awesome, but we couldn't get any bishops to commit to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is very powerful. I know that a lot of people are going to rally to prayer, rally to the cross in their own homes, in their own hearts, in the adoration chapels. So thanks, Zachary, for opening our eyes to more of the reality of what's going on here, for helping us give a call to action, a call to spiritual action here. Thanks for your book. Once again, friends, it's Abortion is a Satanic Sacrifice. Look for Zachary King there on Amazon, and then, of course, we'll keep you posted once his store is back opened up again. Zachary King, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. It's allsaintsministry.org.
All Saints Ministry. Excellent. allsaintsministry.org. And we look forward to seeing you again in person, and I hope that won't be too far into the future. God bless you with health and strength and grace as we continue to work together. God bless you, Zachary King.